Hello everyone, thank you for taking your time to join me, and in this episode I want to talk about expectations. And of course I expect you to watch this video until the end, but if you don't, it's still fine. And that is just how I manage my expectations, in that I have expectations, but then I often choose to be indifferent because it's not always that things are going to go my way. Being indifferent and detached from situations makes it very easy to make peace with myself when things don't go my way. Sometimes you might set a date with someone and then eventually they duck. On the D-Day, it's more like they have changed their mind for their own reasons, and then you get angry that, hey, why have they just wasted me like this? But then if you ask yourself the question that why are you angry, you are not angry because they have disappointed you. You're simply angry because of your expectations. If you had only managed your expectations well when you were given this promise and lowered the threshold of your expectations, then when they give you this news, you can easily adjust and shift and move on to something else, instead of just being there and cussing and being angry at them and wasting time complaining how you have been unjustly treated. I often see expectations and promises that people give me as balloons, right? When someone is gassing me and promising me something and talking about how they are going to do something, I often see more like they're blowing some air into a balloon, all right, and then giving you that, hey, hold on to this. But balloons, when you release them in the air, they can touch anything and then they snap, they pop, or they can fall to the ground and then touch the grass and then they explode. When people talk big and they give you expectations, it's more like that balloon because it's just filled up with air. You'll be very much hurt if you put a lot of your hopes on seeing that balloon every day, because circumstances change and people's emotions, and then what they said today, it's more likely they're not able to fulfill tomorrow. The thing that should surprise you most about people is when they actually fulfill the promises, all right? People get surprised when people don't fulfill the promises that they gave, but that is too common, all right? So you should be more surprised when someone says something and actually does it. That type of person is one of a kind, and it's not easy finding them around these days. You shouldn't be in the habit of banking on other people's promises and holding on to it with your dear life. Expectations are more like promises that you give to yourself and then expecting others to fulfill them. Now, people are just busy with their lives, and in most cases they don't care how their actions, for example, may affect you. They will do what is pleasing to them or what they think adds value to them and consider your wants as secondary, all right? There's a quote that says that if a man is not his own master, he has nothing and can have nothing. And this applies to expectations, because with expectations, it's more like you are giving people your power, that, hey, take this, and you're expecting that they will use it to give you some sort of happiness, to give you something back. But that is not often the case, because people will take that power and then they will use it in a way that pleases them, not in a way that pleases you. The power is in their hands, and they can do whatever they want to. They can break your heart in a split of a second simply because you're giving them too much trust. If you give something, or if I give something, and I expect the person to respond back in a certain way, what will happen if they don't respond in that way is that I will be disappointed. The best form of help always to me is to give without even realize that I'm giving, all right? More like in the Bible they say that let the left hand not know what the right hand gives. I don't know if I've said it correctly. When you genuinely want to give something, the best way to do it is to do it in secret. Once you've made that decision and taken the action, let your mind not even try to process that thought that yesterday I gave something to XYZ. And personally, I have seen just how expectations run different areas of my life. And so what I do daily at the times when I'm doing my self-reflection, I have made a video about self-reflection, and I'm expecting you to watch that, okay? And so whenever I'm doing my daily reflections, that is every morning, I often examine several areas of my life and ask myself, what expectations am I having, not just on myself, but also on others? And then making sure that I'm not having too much expectations in things that I cannot control, that is people and their actions and so on and so forth. Also, I make sure to integrate the possibility that this thing will not happen exactly as I want it to be, so that if things don't happen as I want them to be, then I'm not going to fall too hard. I'm not risking to lose too much if things don't happen my way. I will still have some energy to bounce back and move on as fast as I can. Back then I had a problem of not finishing the things I start, but then I realized mostly I was failing because of my expectations. I was having too much expectations about things, and whenever I saw these small signs that it's not going the same way I expected it to be, then I would more like be low on energy and simply give up on that and then try to find another thing to do. And so I was lacking consistency because of my expectations. And when I started this technique of always doing a self-reflection and then splitting my expectations into smaller denominations that I can easily manage, then I found out that I would be more consistent with my project. When I started this YouTube channel, I knew consistency was going to be a problem, but then I told myself that I'm starting this channel so that I can communicate to at least one person or 10 people, all right? I set an expectation that is easily manageable, that if 10 or 100 people can be able to watch my video and find value, then to me that would be satisfaction. But if I ever get 1 million views, that would be very great, but I'm not setting that as my expectation. And so I find myself that I've been a bit consistent with churning out content because I simply see the small evidence of 10 or 100 or 500 people watching my videos. And so be in the habit of doing regular reflections. Try to be reasonable in your expectations and set the threshold not too high. Make sure that the outcome that you're expecting is something within your control. Don't give too much power to people with the expectation that they are going to behave in a way that is going to benefit you or please you or keep you happy. And most importantly, communicate, especially if there are people that you know, for example, a family or friend or a partner or a relationship, all right? Just communicate your expectations when you have the chance, because they can't read your mind. But even when you communicate to them, don't often expect that they're going to stick to their promises. Have an open mind, give room for the unexpected also to happen. Have some flexibility, because circumstances often come up that change the trajectory or direction of things, and you'll do much better and reconcile your mind and do what is best for you if you have a flexible mind that accepts outcomes that were not expected. It is very important to be self-sufficient in most cases. Don't be the type of person whom you cannot progress in life because you don't have the support of others. In many cases, you will be the one to stand up for yourself, and even the few people that may promise to give you a hand, they may not deliver to the extent that you might expect them to push you. Now, I'm not saying that you should be this close person who doesn't ask for help in anything, but you will be more secure if you can make independent decisions whose outcomes do not depend on the actions of other people. They more depend on your actions. You have the autonomy and control about the things in your life and how your life turns out. It is more often about your effort than what others can offer you. They will often chip in or be excited to participate if they see how lively and energetic and passionate you are putting into your projects or the things that excite you. And even at individual levels, you have dreams, you have hopes, you have things that you want to achieve, but don't be too expectant of yourself that you lose touch with reality. Some good things we want for ourselves, but we have to recognize that lots of things happen over time, right? They have to evolve from the first intention and the seed that you're going to put before it eventually bears a fruit. And so have expectations, but don't have expectations that leave you out of touch with reality, because your life is simply going to be disappointing, right? Some parents eventually have ended up with miserable lives because they think they gave their best to their children, right, in form of education, life, and everything. But then the way their children turned out is not the way they expected to be. As a parent, just do the best for your child, but how their life turns out or the direction that they eventually take in their life is upon them. Remember that you simply give them a costume to come and live on this plane or reality, but they have a path of their own, a spiritual path of their own to evolve and to take. And so, in as much as you may not be pleased with how their lives have turned out, sometimes it's their destiny or path that they have to learn something through this path that they have taken. Whether it's a harsh life, there's something that they will eventually, or they were meant to learn from that in order to evolve spiritually, emotionally, physically, all right, and fulfill their purpose in this universe. If you have watched up to this end, I am really grateful that you have met my expectations. And be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to comment if you have anything to say. I expect to see you in my next video. Have a great time.